State fire officials are mobilizing tonight to fight the B&O fire burning thousands of acres in Okanogan. The flames forcing people from their homes. We're tracking the latest.
Warm and sunny weather will continue into the weekend with highs in the 80s, but I am tracking the potential for increased wind on Saturday.
It's humbling to know that there is so much love out there for this little girl.
Plus, people from the Inland Northwest and beyond are showing up for a 9-year-old girl from Deer Park after major heart surgery. Hear from her family about what's next. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the Night Report here on KREM 2 News. I'm Sydney Schofield. Topping our news here on the Night Report, state fire officials are at work tonight helping fight the B&O fire burning 2,000 acres in Okanogan. The flames are forcing people from their homes. There are level 3 and level 2 evacuations in place tonight. We want to show you this map where you can see the wide swath of red there. Those are the go now level 3 evacuations. The fire is burning in grass and brush and is threatening homes and infrastructure tonight. The fire is north of State Route 20 near the intersection of B&O Road North, Hope Spring Road, and Okanogan Cemetery Road. There are also some road closures right now due to this fire. Salmon Creek from Okanogan to Spring Coulee and Spring Coulee from B&O Road to Salmon Creek. Okanogan County Fairgrounds is open for animals, and the Red Cross has also set up an evacuation center at Community Bible Church of Omak. That's on Birch Street. A new fire is also burning in Boundary County tonight. The Upper Smith Creek fire has burned about 150 acres, about 30 miles from Bonners Ferry. It's pretty close to the Canadian border. There are no evacuations in place at last check. Let's turn our attention to the forecast now. Meteorologist Michelle Boss joining us from the Outdoor Weather Center. I know we were warning people a lot earlier this week about fire danger under those red flag warnings. And even though they've expired, it's still a concern for people as we move through the end of the week.
Yeah, so we already have those active wildfires burning, and we're not going to get any help with Mother Nature in the form of cooler temperatures or rain, and we're just kind of monitoring the winds because the hot and dry weather is going to be sticking around through the weekend, and we are anticipating kind of an uptick in winds on Saturday, so certainly watching out for that. Right now, it's still pretty warm out here this late evening hour, 76 degrees in Spokane, mid-70s in Coeur d'Alene, but Grand Coulee still reporting mid-80s there, 80 in Othello, near 80 in Moses Lake. We have mid-70s in Pomeroy and Lewiston. Current wind speeds pretty quiet out there right now, generally under 10 miles per hour. Wenatchee is still seeing kind of a steady breeze there. We're not really seeing any of those wind gusts at night. Those winds will pick back up again, at least the gusty winds tomorrow afternoon, but really kind of honing in on Saturday where we have a fire watch that does include the Okanogan Valley or the near Omak, and then also the Waterville Plateau near the Wenatchee area, looking for some slightly higher wind gust up around 30 miles per hour. This area may be expanded as we get closer to Saturday because we are looking at some gusty winds in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene as well. But otherwise, just dry weather continuing throughout the night. Clear skies tonight, sunny skies tomorrow. And we're going to be warm tomorrow in the upper 80s. A little bit breezy on Saturday, 86 degrees, and a brief cool down on Sunday with highs in the lower 80s before we see the return of some lower 90s early next week.
A 9-year-old Deer Park girl is recovering after a major heart surgery took a frightening turn. Her family says she suffered 2 cardiac emergencies during her recovery. But tonight, they're finding hope in small signs of progress and support from all across the Inland Northwest and beyond. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy tells us more about Cora Schaefer and her family.
For most 9-year-old girls, summer means swimming, riding horses, and spending time outside. For Cora Schaefer, it also means another chapter in a lifelong fight.
She has not missed a beat in life. She loves to ride horses. She just hasn't let any of that stop her from living her best life.
Cora was born with a severe heart defect affecting her mitral valve. She underwent her first open heart surgery at just 4 months old, another procedure at 9 months, and recently returned to Providence Sacred Heart Medical Center to replace the mechanical valve she's outgrown. The surgery was expected. What happened afterward wasn't.
She was up and talking, and then, they called the code, and it was very frightening for all of us because we weren't expecting that at all.
Despite suffering 2 cardiac emergencies, Cora's grandmother, Barb Peely, says she continues to show remarkable strength. Now her family is asking for community support as they navigate Cora's health and medical costs. Despite the uncertainty, Peely says Cora's continued to keep a positive attitude even as doctors prepared to take her back into surgery.
The nurse came out and told us, Cora gave us a thumbs up. She's good. And then we went in to talk to her before she went into surgery, and she said, I had her little brother, my grandson Colton, with me, and she said, "Hi, Colton," and squeezed our hand.
Her family says courage has defined Cora since she was born. They've always reminded her that her experience isn't something to hide. It's something people in her life, including her grandmother, are inspired by.
I didn't think that I would learn such lessons from my granddaughter, and learn the bravery and the kindness and the strength that she's shown us.
As Cora continues recovering in the pediatric intensive care unit, support is poured in from the community. But Peely says the love and kind words goes far beyond Deer Park.
We have family in Africa right now, South Africa, and they've got people praying for our little Cora in South Africa. It's humbling to know that there is so much love out there for this little girl.
She says doctors saw encouraging progress on Thursday, but they know recovery will take time. For now, Cora's family will continue seeing she gets better as time goes on.
Words can't express how grateful we are to the community, friends, and our family.
Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
We have an update tonight on the 7 people hurt in a fire incident in Pierce County last week. We spoke with Tristan Bonner, who says he was among those hurt after an explosion at a small gathering involving a gas container near a fire. He says the blast caused severe injuries and left the left side of his body permanently changed. 7 victims, all between the ages of 18 and 28, are being treated at Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. Today we got an interview with one of the doctors to learn more about their condition.
And then we have started working toward getting the third degree and deeper burns off of patients so that they don't have the ongoing inflammation that drives their critical illness, and then helps work toward serial debridements and reconstruction of their wounds to work on getting their skin reconstructed and ultimately, that small part of getting them back to life.
Now, the Idaho State Fire Marshal's office says they are still investigating what happened. 3 people were injured in an early morning shooting yesterday in North Spokane. Police believe the violence was targeted. Officers responded just after 2:30 a.m. to the 800 block of East Everett Avenue. The victims made it to local hospitals both by ambulance and by private vehicle. It doesn't appear anyone is in custody in connection to this shooting, and the extent of the victims' injuries has not been released tonight. Detectives continue to investigate. They're asking anyone with information to reach out to Spokane Police. Earlier today, a motorcyclist was killed in a crash at the Mission and Hamilton intersection. According to the Spokane Police Department, officers responded to reports of that crash just before 10 a.m. SPD says the motorcyclist was taken to the hospital, and despite life-saving measures from medics, the motorcyclist died from his injuries there. They add that the other driver was cooperative and stayed on the scene. The crash remains under investigation tonight. Now to a story we've been following over the past week. The Idaho woman charged with murdering her twin toddlers is now suing the American Academy of Pediatrics, claiming vaccines caused their deaths. New court filings, though, show that Andrea Shaw alleges her children died after receiving their 18-month vaccinations and accuses the AAP of misleading parents about vaccine safety. However, a grand jury indictment says the twins died from suffocation. Shaw now faces 2 counts of first-degree murder. The AAP has asked the court to dismiss the lawsuit, calling it another attack on its science-based vaccine guidance. A Sandpoint man accused in the death of his grandfather pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter, avoiding a jury trial that was scheduled for later this month. 30-year-old Jeremiah Kiley admitted to killing his grandfather with a hatchet in what court documents describe as an act committed in the heat of passion. Under a plea agreement, prosecutors will recommend a 30-year prison sentence with 15 years fixed. Kiley is scheduled to be sentenced on September 8th. New tonight, 4 people were arrested Wednesday during a U.S. Marshals Task Force operation to capture a wanted fugitive in Post Falls. Authorities say 37-year-old Johnny Levi Turcotte was wanted on domestic battery and attempted strangulation charges. Investigators found him hiding inside a shed where he initially refused to surrender before officers deployed a canine. 3 other people were also arrested on drug obstruction and harboring a fugitive charges. Turcotte was treated at a hospital before being booked into jail. A new report shows some Washington construction workers may have missed out on millions of dollars in pay that they were owed. Now a union is calling on state lawmakers to force their employees to pay up. The North Coast States Carpenters Union says 14% of the state's construction workers were improperly paid between 2011 and 2021. They say it amounts to around $142 million in lost wages. The union says there are not enough L&I inspectors to examine payroll paperwork. They're pushing for a law to hold general contractors responsible for paying workers what they're owed. A similar bill died in Olympia last year. Lawmakers are expected to take another run at it, though, in the next session. Stay with us. A lot more to come here on the Night Report tonight. A new chapter begins for Whitworth nursing students. How the university's first ever nursing program came to be and how it could help fill a growing need for nurses. But first, firefighters found themselves trapped by flames on the front lines of that fire burning in Chelan. Tonight, the captain who survived shares what happened and why he says he's still committed to the job. That's coming up after the break.